In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, Gumpers.
Hey, hola, bon dia, alegria, and happy hump day to you. How's it going? Munson here with the Expats Portugal show, and good morning, you regulars. Lovely to see you here. Laura P, Brian Taylor, Deagle, Thunder, Duck. See you later, mate. And Coach Turner. Where's the Slugman? Is the Slugman in this morning? Yes, he is. Slugman is here with a Mark Twain quote of the day, I see. Okay, we're talking about going to Portuguese supermarkets today. Something that can be taken for granted by the seasoned expat, of course. You get used to things, don't you? You become familiar, and you can almost, familiarity can almost verge on contempt. And normal life certainly has supermarket shopping as part of it. But when you arrive here for the first time, it can be quite overwhelming. Those aromas, the bacalhau, the aroma of bacalhau, the nothing but Portuguese wine. All those olive oils to choose from. Which one? Which one for salad dressing? Which one for cooking? So many choices. The milks, fresh milk, UHT milk, the taste and flavors to get used to. Tastes and flavors that are absent from your usual shopping basket. So let's talk about that this morning. For those of you who are seasoned expats and you've got quite used to it and it's under your belt, as it were, and going to the supermarket is in no way stressful anymore, do chip in with your Am I being called a Muppet? I'll come back to that in a minute. Those of you who take it in your stride now, your input would be gratefully received this morning. And if you're slightly concerned about it, if you're on your way, even if you're seeing this in the future on replay, stick your questions in the comments and we'll do our best to come back to you. But if you're here this morning, lovely to see you. And you know what? You might be a seasoned expat and you might still have some questions. And the longer it goes on, the harder it becomes, doesn't it, sometimes to ask a question. So if there's still something that's foxing you about life at the Portuguese supermarket, feel free to ask. Ask for a friend if you like, or send if you're really embarrassed about it, send the question to me on 00351 913 590 303. And Owen will be here from 9 o'clock to talk about all of that. I've got a little bit of a teaser video to take you around the supermarket, my local supermarket, to see if anything is prompted in your mind or things that you remember. Oh, yes, I remember when I was first in the Portuguese supermarket. Yes, I've got used to that now. Nuno's in as well. How are you, Nuno? Great to have Nuno here from Winsurance. What's your greeting today? Yeah, things are a little bit strange on the computer. Mrs. M was in doing her Bali link-up call this morning, a very inspiring one it was too. From early on, I think 6:30 this morning, something like that. So, like I've said before, coming into the studio after Mrs. M is like sitting on a warm toilet seat, and a few things are out of place from my usual being able to come in and use it as I wish. Anyway, Nuno here. Good morning, Carl and community. Wonderful community. How lovely. Wonderful man. Right back at you, Nuno. And Ubi's in as well now. People coming in, sneaking in at the back as well. Got any poetry for us today? Your comments are poetry, Ubi. A God Squad tip of the day. Then let's go there first, shall we, this morning? Because I'm sure we'll be talking all. Oh, we haven't had this, gentlemen. Hold on. We'll come to the God Squad tip of the day. We've got to have a João bid us.
Bom dia, Portugal.
I love that. Really good. And of course, before we give you the God Squad tip of the day, let's have this to get proceedings going as well. Well, the couple of ducks are ready for their exercise tip of the day from Coach Turner. Great athletes aren't born that way. Yeah, it's like I guess it's like being expert at anything, isn't it? They take years and years of training, mastery. Yes, a little bit at a time. Dedication. Yes, improvement happens over the long term, doesn't it? And excellence certainly happens over the long term. It's the same for improving our health and fitness a little bit at a time. So that may come as a relief to some people. You don't have to be a record-breaking athlete to be involved in a little bit of growing old disgracefully or gentle fitness for bon viveurs, a little bit at a time. And Coach Turner goes on to say there were some great performances at the European Championships yesterday. So we've moved on, haven't we, from the Commonwealth Games to the European Championships? Is that how it normally works, Ian? And Ian, of course, joining us on Friday alongside Phil, where I think we will be doing some wine and food-related fitness. We've been chatting behind the scenes, and it's all about balance. It's all about balance. So we're going to make sure we enjoy that Portuguese wine and take care of ourselves as well. So we'll dig deeper into that bodily and mental fitness with Coach Turner and Phil on Friday, Feel Good Friday. So, yes, some great performances at the European Championships yesterday from Brits and Portuguese athletes. Also, if you haven't seen it, watch the speed climbing on Catch Up. It's breathtaking. And also see Portuguese athlete living in London. Dos Santos, is that his name? In some controversial confrontations. I think it is fair to say they were confrontations with the Metropolitan Police. What did you make of that, Coach Turner? You'll have had a better view of that over there in the UK in Hertfordshire. And thank you very much for your GODTOTD tips of the day. It's a bon dia, alegria, gumpers from a cool and breezy Lisboa from T-Duck this morning. And yes, it is a windy Wednesday, and the weather's not too good either. And your deep thoughts of the day: you can't stay in your corner of the forest waiting for others to come to you. You have to go to them sometimes. Yes, see you later. T-Duck, fantastic. And Portuguese saying of the day: aqui se aprende no berço sempre dura. What is learned in the crib always lasts. In the crib! I think that does mean as the crib as in a child, not as in the urban dwelling or home. So that's beautiful, isn't it? What is learned in the crib always lasts. Teach them young, right? Old habits die hard. Very good. Thank you very much for those. We'll come back to those wonderful dad jokes. Love those a little bit later on. Cheers, T-Duck, for those. You definitely are back on form, aren't you? The T-Duck we know and love is 100%, I would say. And looking forward to seeing you later. Bon dia, Carl and Gumpers from a dull, damp Belfast. Not windy there, but dull and damp. Morning, Deagle. And thank you for sending me that news item. Petition seeks to change departure route out of Faro. That's what's going on there. And it's a very interesting diagram. Actually, I'm going to show you this. And we will check in on how the fire is at Corvilla and Serra da Estrela as well this morning. But Deagle brings our attention to this. I don't know if you've been in the Algarve and thought, those planes going over one after another. It's like living near an airport, because it is. Petition, and let me just show you this on the screen as well. Petition seeks to change the departure flight path then at Faro Airport. And what's the problem here? Disgruntled residents, we don't want that, do we? Who fear for their safety. What? It's as bad as that, is it? Hold on a minute. So which is which? Is that that presumably is the new departure route that doesn't fly over? Yeah, okay, I think that's probably it. Disgruntled residents who fear for their safety and are concerned about air and noise pollution have launched a petition calling for authorities to change the flight path for departing planes at Faro. They believe departing planes fly too closely to densely populated areas, which leaves locals feeling unsafe and also generates air and noise pollution. It does make sense, doesn't it? Well, yes, there's always two sides to every blooming thing, isn't there? So you would think, wouldn't you, intuitively, that sending the planes out over the sea would be less risky and would cast less pollution onto the urban mass there. But then again, sending them out might make them use more fuel, which would be counterproductive in terms of pollution longer term in the bigger picture. Anyway, the petition was created by Francois Croisy, an estate agent from Almansil. I'm constantly confronted with negative comments from my clients about air traffic, he says in a statement to the press. You do get used to this, though, don't you? Where I grew up in London, we were under the Heathrow flight path. And unless there's a Concorde going over, you kind of get used to it. It's like living next to a railway line, isn't it? But point taken, Monsieur Croisi, Senor Croisi. Whilst the importance of Faro Airport for development in the Algarve region is undeniable, the fact that there are low altitude flights over residential and tourist areas causes a great deal of discomfort. I have noticed that actually. Now you mentioned it in Faro, they are low, aren't they, over and around the beach? The fact that there are low altitude flights over residential and tourist areas causes a great deal of discomfort. Croisi adds, also pointing out that it presents an increased risk to safety and elevated levels of both atmospheric and noise pollution. The story continues over at the Portugal resident there. Facebook group has also been created if you would like to add your name to it. The solution, according to the petition, is to only allow planes to turn north once they have reached an altitude of 5,000 feet. And at which point, I want to say, we'll now be turning left and north. I should say, not left. Forgive me, ladies and gentlemen. We're turning left. No, we're not. We're turning north. And by this point, you must be wondering if I'm a competent captain. Turning north once we've reached an altitude of 5,000 feet, around 1,500 meters. A very pleasant day in Faro. Please take all your belongings with you. In order to guarantee the safety of inhabitants concerned and fly over less densely populated areas. I think you get the gist, don't you? Thank you very much. Who wrote that? Michael Brujo wrote that. Thank you very much. And what's this in the adverts? I see. That's what I do. I fix stuff. Ooh, what's that? Okay, I'm not going to read that one. But that's serving me T-shirts for the kind of older gentlemen, I think they're. Not too bad on this occasion. Google Ads, thank you very much for that. We'll come back to the screen sharing in just a moment when I tell you what's going on in Serra da Estrela. Thank you for that, Deagle. Oh, no, you can't sneak a dad joke in like that. We'll come back to it. Bon dia, Gumpers, from James. Feliz Catatoros. Como tem pasado? From you. Fantastic. And your Mark Twain quote of the day. If you hold a cat by the tail, you learn things you can't learn any other way. Very good. Don't try that at home. Please do not try that. It's metaphorical. You can get the gist without actually trying that experiment for yourself. Laura P., hello from a very windy in Albufeira. So windy down there as well in the south. Bon dia, Gumpers. Thank you, Laura. Good morning to you. Bon dia, Gumpers from Brian. And right back at you, Brian. Just a short visit today. Work getting in the way again. This is outrageous, Brian. Tell them. I'm trying to watch the Expats Portugal show with the Gumpers. Bon dia from Stephen Wells as well. Morning, Stephen and Sarah and Pam. How you all doing? Bon dia. I'm also off to work soon. Just called in to say bon dia. Thank you, Pam. Much appreciated. Are you involved in the weekend's festivities, I wonder? Hola, bon dia a todos from Ubi as well. And Ubi got a question on Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday. Anyone know if I could get an international prepaid phone card SIM at Pingados or another supermercado? More likely, Ubi, I would say, to find one in one of the kiosks or one of the phone shops, Voda, Mayo, or Nosh, in the shopping precinct. I would shop around at the big brands personally, and go in there to get the best possible service. So you go to a shopping center, and there's usually a Voda, a Mayo, or a Nosh shop in there. Anyone else? Got any responses for Ubi there? I've not done that. I've not done that, so I can't speak from personal. I can't peek or speak from personal experience. So Ubi, let's see what everyone else comes up with this morning. I have to call the US, and my current Airbnb Wi-Fi doesn't allow Wi-Fi calling. Well, presumably there are other Wi-Fi systems you could log on to as well. You could also do that at the shopping center. Maybe that's the way to do it. Albufeira, mention of Albufeira from Laura has Deagle saying, I'm looking forward to being there in October. Only 57 sleeps to go. Or should I just go to a cell phone store? Not Deagle, but Ubi asking that. Well, why not use a different Wi-Fi would be my suggestion. Capricorn 12 might know. He knows about these things. And his suggestion, Eye Level. What a great band they were. Great early 80s jazz funk, Brit funk tracks. Saw them live at the Lyceum. The Lyceum in the Strand with Capital Radio's best disco in town with Greg Edwards. Great, mate. Thank you for that. I really liked Minefield by Eye Level, I've got to say. Thank you, Capricorn Chris, for that. How you doing, mate? Here's a question. Why do so many stores not refrigerate their tofu? Yes, refrigerate your tofu. As a former commercial tofu maker, it just gives me the creeps. Yeah, that's culture of the kind you don't want, right? So steer clear, I think, is Sarah's advice there of any store that doesn't, or certainly steer clear of their tofu. Would you say tofu or tofu? I wonder. Hola, bon dia, kids. Thank you for that tip, Sarah. Hola, bon dia, kids, from the brilliant blue skies of Portimao. Also windy here as well. Windy across the country then. And Laura, here is almost everything biological as there is little pollution. The difference between American and Portuguese food is maybe nothing is added with something else, vitamin C, vitamin D, calcium, and so on. Okay, thank you for that, Laura. So without having the designation of biological, a lot of things actually are and are quite uncut or have added value. Should we call it that this morning? Thank you for that. We'll put that to Owen as well later on. Jean is in, and you've been prompted to send in pictures of your local supermarket to Vera as well. Thank you for those, Jean. I'll share those with Owen when he comes, so he's not missing out on those as well. Yesterday, I went to this bakery, Fábrica de Pão de Ló, which is actually, I just want to get that in because it's not strictly speaking a supermarket. Oh, that's a fig. Don't give a fig right now. Fábrica de Pão de Ló, look, it was delicious. It was delicious, and it is from the world famous Café Ferreira in Alfazanal, which is just down the road from me, which was established in 1920 by the look of it. I love it when a cafe puts its history up on the wall. And a shout out, a great acknowledgement to Maria Ferreira, who was obviously the founding influence and the matriarchal force behind the Pão de Ló speciality over there in Alfazanal. That was great yesterday. Okay, let's just sum up on your comments for now. Maybe we can't. Maybe there are just too many this morning. I found no difference, however, in the refrigerated tofu. I think the vacuum sealed packaging has a longer shelf life. Would you agree? Okay, tofu. I think the Americans say tofu in Porto. Maybe. Bio also includes no poisons used to keep the pesties off. It is tofu. If you're someplace more chill, yeah, that's how my mum says it. Tofu fan. I love Pão de Ló, says Pablo. We got you there. Have you tried that wonderful Fábrica at the Pão de Ló there in Alfazanal? Let's meet up and have a coffee there sometime if you love your Pão de Ló. It's my treat, Pam. And where else are we? Tofu. I used to be a stewardess, so I had enough of those announcements. Cabin to cross-check. And maybe you can explain to us what that means one day. Cabin to cross-check, Laura. It brings back memories, especially in Faro, there is only one runway. Aha. So is that the problem? I love watching airplanes. Me too. Always have. Yeah, really do. And thank you for your pictures, Jean. We'll show those a little bit later on. Wind direction also plays a part in takeoff and landing directions at airports. So maybe, what was he called? Not Senor Queijo. Francois. We'll call him Francois. Maybe he's just, that position is not going to go anywhere because they've already thought of that. And that is the best way to do it in Faro with its one runway and changing wind direction. Okay. Raj, morning, Raj. In a couple of options. Oh, in Miles, there are a couple of options for SIM cards such as Vodafone and Leica. Leica, I don't know about, but are they international cards that Ubi can use, Raj? Thank you for stepping in with that. Excellent stuff. Tofu yo. Okay, so I think mainly tofu for those of us here, unless you are Chinese or from the Far East, and it's more of a dofu. Okay, thank you very much for those so far. I'm going to whet your appetite with a bit of a supermarket video now. And we'll also show this to Owen when he comes and joins us after 9 o'clock. But let me know if this brings back any memories for you, okay, of when you first arrived. That's what I want to know about. Your first memories, that those seasoned expats and those who've done scouting trips, what were your first memories of being in a supermarket that made it quite unlike your supermarket back home? do like that music. I gotta say. Oh, okay. We've got to deal with this that has just come in. Woeful Wednesday. 1 week off exchanging contracts, and the mortgage loan to the buyer was reduced due to economy. So house sale loss. Oh, Gary, I'm so disappointed for you. You had your plan all figured out, didn't you? We were so gutted, says Gary. We're 3 weeks away from leaving to come to Portugal, and your house sale has fallen through. Hey, I guess in that timescale, you're gonna be set back. So sorry to hear that, Gary. And fingers crossed, mate. You've had your challenges, haven't you? Let us know how we can help if we can help in such a situation. And yeah, does somebody want to buy a nice house in the Nottingham area, isn't it, Gary? Yeah, I guess you're gonna have to pivot and reshape your plans there. Sorry to hear that, mate. Yikes. So before we go back to supermarkets and talking about supermarkets and whether they were like or unlike the supermarkets you're used to, I'm going to go to fogos.pt to see what's happening in Serra da Estrela as we await the arrival of Owen Lloyd-Martin, who's going to be talking to me on this Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday about supermarket experiences and also alternatives too, as well, of course. Okay, so let me share this with you then, the fogos.pt website and or fogos.pt website, I should say, and let's see what's going on there. I've got some images, some really moving images as well from SIC Noticias, I think it's from, but we'll come back to that in a little while, of people hands-on fighting fires themselves in this terrible situation. This has been blazing for over 10 days now, I believe, this particular blaze site in the Serra da Estrela. And there's still, look, as we look live at fogos.pt, we're seeing that there are still 1,200 plus personnel on the ground, 5 aircraft in the area. Again, when I checked a little while ago, there weren't any aircraft, but the aircraft have been scrambled as well, and 398 vehicles in attendance there. I mean, this is awful, this situation over there. And what can you do? It's down to just them keeping on and being supported. You can see on the screen there, this is how you're updated as well from the top brass on the ground, the kind of status reports and what they're doing, the updates and what their priorities are. It's quite extraordinary, the effort that's going on there. Those firefighters must be exhausted up there. So many of them are employed up there at the moment that they, that's hundreds of people from a population of only 10 million, remember, over here in Portugal. So extraordinary and still blazing, it would seem, over there in Serra da Estrela. Godspeed and prayers and anything that might be useful, of course, to the firefighters and anyone fighting that over there. These images then as well from the same part of the country, I want to share with you. Bear with for just a moment. And I will, these images are from SIC Noticias. And let me see if I can bring them onto the screen. There's a little slideshow of people fighting the fires themselves, basically, with what's going on over there. Let me bring that onto the screen for you now and show you this slideshow. I might be able to blow it up and put it into a bigger screen, a full screen. But let's just see how this goes. Yes, here we go. Okay, that should be full screen now.
Viagens, alterações na alimentação, antibióticos, vírus.
I wonder how long this advert's going to go on for.
Perde o seu equilíbrio natural. Pode ocorrer
diarreia. A colon cleanse.
O L250 é um medicamento probiótico para micro-organismos vivos que trata e previne.
I'm not sure. I can't really skip this ad.
O L250 protege o seu intestino.
If you're having troubles with your colon, that's that was for you.
Está em Aldeia Viçosa. Patrícia, boa noite. O vento muito forte está a dificultar o combate às chamas.
Aí, de que maneira? Nós estamos na estrada entre Aldeia Viçosa e Vila Cortês do Mondego e é o cenário que se vê. E se há gente com coragem, nós estamos perante alguns deles. São pessoas aqui da região, vivem aqui nas várias aldeias, pegaram naquilo que tinham na mão, pás, ramos, as próprias máquinas de rasto que têm andado neste pasto para tentar conter estas chamas. As chamas já estiveram mais na encosta, agora desceram muito rapidamente. Nós tivemos que acompanhar esta gente e sair do meio do pasto porque era perigoso e realmente as chamas estão-se a aproximar da estrada numa altura em que há necessidade de nos afastarmos e numa altura em que começam a chegar os bombeiros, a Força Especial de Bombeiros, e é muito calor, muito vento. Aliás, o vento é o principal problema, é a principal dificuldade num fogo deste género, que é um fogo que começou na encosta e depois que desce com muita rapidez essa encosta, alimentado pelo mato denso. Isto aqui é essencialmente mato, muita giesta que estava aqui e que, como vemos, o vento puxa. Aliás, as chamas andam ao sabor do vento, ou sobem ou descem, vão para um lado, vão para o outro. É muito difícil conseguir conter um fogo deste tipo, por muita boa vontade e experiência que tem este grupo. Eu perguntei-lhes há pouco se eles sabiam o que é que lhes estava para vir, o que é que iam fazer. Eles disseram que sabiam. São pessoas que estão habituadas a incêndios aqui nesta região, infelizmente, e por isso mesmo vieram para aqui, porque sabiam que de um momento para o outro o fogo iria descer em costa e iria chegar aqui junto à estrada. Aqui estão eles, agora que o fogo acalmou um pouco, porque o vento parece também ter acalmado, mas é sempre imprevisível, e preparam-se para enfrentar as chamas, mas mais uma vez recuam, porque o cenário não é para brincadeiras, é muito vento, muito fumo, e apesar de estarmos aqui numa estrada, o mato de um lado e do outro da estrada é, digamos, combustível para seguir caminho, Estamos a ver de uma parte a arder, mais atrás houve uma projeção, outra parte a arder. O incêndio ainda não passou a estrada, já existe ali máquinas de rasto e os tratores, as máquinas agrícolas. Vê-se aqui uma com depósito de água.
Forgive me there for shutting that off, but I mean that's a 6-minute report, which you can see on SIG Noticias. But I mean, you're so right. Very dramatic footage, says Amelie. So dangerous for the reporters to be that close. But you just saw, didn't you, in that 3 minutes, how that fire just blew up the hill there. And how those people were trying to fight it with mattocks and spades and so on. And it just seemed, not just for the reporter, but I would have thought the firefighters who weren't there yet, were they were probably busy elsewhere, would have moved those people on. But I guess they were panicking and were just trying to do what they could. But it looked as though those people should have been evacuated from that situation. And that would have been a village in the Guarda district. That's not the Serra da Estrela situation that we have been talking about previously. So I don't know what to say. It is grim that it is going on for so long. I know that there is a group on Facebook to help specifically with the Serra da Estrela, with the animals, with the evacuation of people, and then with the rehabilitation of people after this situation. So we'll keep a close eye on that and see what's going on. Pam, is this right? On last night's news, they said Portugal had the biggest proportion of land area burned this year. 1% of Portugal? Really? Or is that 1% of Serra da Estrela? I hope it's the latter. Can anyone else update on that? It's 9 o'clock. We are here on Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday. Sorry, it's broken my stride a bit seeing that footage, I have to say. And we'll bring our dear mate to the screen. Oh, no, he's gone. I was just about to click him onto the screen, and it says his devices are not connected. And we do like our devices connected first thing in the morning, don't we? Darren's around as well. Big day for me here as we wait for the survey for the property we plan to buy. Fingers crossed as our UK house is sold soon. Good news for you, Darren, and fingers crossed for you there. Let's see if we can get Owen on the screen now. How you doing, mate?
Morning, Carl. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Thanks. Just a little shocked to see the fire footage there that I showed. I thought it was going to be a slideshow of people attacking a blaze. Turns out it was quite a lot of video of a fire whipping up, which of course you saw yourself, didn't you, in the distance from your balcony, even in the city in Leiria a few weeks ago now.
I did, yeah. I did. It's you know, my heart goes out to the firefighters up there. You know, they're working tirelessly to get things done. I've seen 1 or 2 photographs this week around the fire, and it looks, well, how can you describe a fire, you know, of that magnitude, really? But, you know, let's hope that we get some rain. Let's hope we get loads of rain.
Yeah, because that's what the reporters seem to be saying, that the combination of high winds and the fire starting in, I think, across numerous places is a recipe for disaster, as we've seen. And yes, 1% of Portugal has been burned. 10% of the Serra da Estrela are devastating, and 0.5% of Spain. This is a serious problem, isn't it? Poor Portugal. Oh, you're absolutely right, Laura P. there. Wow, Owen, we'll come back to that. We've lost Owen now, but I wonder if anybody has got anything to say about that. We will come back to it, of course, and we're talking about NIF numbers already. Just last comment then for the time being then on the fires. Rain, come today, make the fires go away. Yes, let's hope that mantra works as well, and a bit of rain dancing, whatever it takes. To get some water on those fires and just quell that blaze that's going on there in Serra da Estrela. Seem to be having a little bit of a problem with having Owen connecting to the show this morning, but I will go and what I'm going to do is now we're into the supermarket segment. And I'll show that video again in a little while, so just to trigger your memories of first being in Portugal. But some lovely images sent in from Jean. Thank you, Jean, for those. What do you say about these? Are they is this your favorite supermarket? I wonder. Let's have a look. Owen, I think, is finding himself another location, better closer to the Wi-Fi, perhaps. Speaking of supermercados, of course, which is the Portuguese for supermarkets, Argatalhos in Fuzeta. I really enjoy shopping here. Good butcher and bakery sections. So here it is on the screen for you now. Thanks, Jean, for these. How many of the rest of us here have got photographs, well, like me and Jean, of the local supermarket? And a fella taking it easy, or is he looking for change outside the supermarket there? But anyway, Algartalhos, their supermercados. And that's something to say, I think, about Portuguese supermarkets. That's more of an independent one, isn't it? But they're not doing too much on the marketing or the frontage there, are they, to lure you in? A little bit, but not a great deal. Because everyone knows it's there already. They're not. I don't think they're looking in the curb appeal. Should we call it that? There's not much going on in the way of curb appeal. Everyone knows what goes on in there, so they don't need to spend too much money on that. The focus is on the inside. Isn't that a brilliant contrast? Oh, and let's bring him back onto the screen. Oh, and you might want to make your comments about this. That's the outside of the supermarket. This is, I think, quite fair to say, quite a Portuguese thing. The inside and the outside convey a different picture. That's what it looks like on the inside. It looks fairly kind of old-fashioned on the outside, thoroughly modern supermarket on the inside there. Great selection of produce, more there.
Well, you could associate that with places to eat, Carl. I mean, some places, so true, wherever you eat, it could look bad from the outside, and when you go in, the food's amazing. When you enter the place itself,
I think that's a Portuguese thing for sure.
Sorry, there's definitely a bit of a delay here, Carl. Sorry about the technical difficulties. It's
it's nice to see your lovely smiling face though, frozen and immortalized on the screen. I've got Cafe Algarve. Guess where this is? No, not in the Algarve. This is in, where is this? Vancouver, I believe. Sent in by Suze. Morning, Suze. Drove by on east side of Vancouver and must go back for pastel de nata and hopefully a bean soup. Yes, bean soup, very popular from our Wednesday meetup days, Suze. And Cafe Algarve there in, where is that? East side of Vancouver. Mercearias Portuguesas, Portuguese groceries, and parking at the rear. Who doesn't like a bit of parking at the rear first thing in the morning? I think we're going to do the dad jokes now. We're waiting for Owen to see if he can sort out his technical problems. Well, let's do a few dad jokes and see where that gets us technologically. We've got the video to play. The warning, of course. You need to be warned before such material is shared on the screen.
Warning.
Oh, no! Yeah, oh, yeah. Are you ready for these, Owen?
Go on then. We'll give it a try. See how long it'll last this time.
I think, yeah. At least you'll go off the show laughing. It's what's this? I've got a great joke about construction, but I'm still working on it.
Oh dear. T.com.
If you see a crime at an Apple store, does that make you an eyewitness? And where do maths teachers go on vacation? Times Square. Very good. Thank you, T-Duck. And look, we've got a permanent laugh. Smile, at least, anyway, from Owen on the screen. Dad joke. What did Kermit the Frog say when he got to the top of the mountain. I'm Muppet. I think Deagle might have made that one himself. Reluctantly, I pressed this button. Okay, thank you for that. A visual dad joke now. This is one I forgot to share with you from before. Who doesn't like a Star? I nearly said Star Wars, which would have caused a lot of problems. I've just invented a thought-controlled air freshener, says Captain Kirk. And of course, Spock says that sounds illogical. It makes sense when you think about it. Now, that does deserve one of those, don't you think, Owen? Or are you still frozen? Are you doing that on purpose? Because he's pranked me like this before, hasn't he? He's just like this. But no, I think he is truly frozen. So let's see if he can sort that out. Let's go to some of your supermarket comments and see what you've got to say about supermarket shopping over here in Portugal. Ask anything about Portugal Wednesday. So as the name suggests, ask anything about Portugal. We're still working on tofu, aren't we? And whether vacuum packing is the right thing to do or not. So T-Duck seems to think it's okay. And Sarah responding to that, vacuum packaging was actually prey to some really awful kinds of contamination. Viz EU, maybe they're doing something different and more modern. Be good to know. Okay, that would be good to know. And T-Duck says, the way we use tofu, I've not noticed any difference. However, when we lived in Sacramento many years ago, we could get fresh tofu at the farmer's market. Now, that was the best. Yes. But was it the Western tofu, the kind of what I would say is slightly cardboardy one, or was it the silken and soft tofu? That is my favorite, I've got to say, having grown up with that in oyster sauce and a few freshly fried green vegetables, some pak choy. Oh, stop it, Carl. I was actually surprised, says James, at how much like the US supermarkets they appeared. Upon close inspection, there were some noticeable differences. So I guess layout. All of the supermarkets of the world have become prey to retail psychology, where I suppose you're greeted by the fresh things and the favorite aromas. In Portugal, of course, the bacalhau aroma, and maybe a little bit of bakery business going on as well. And the layouts will be the same, won't they? Certain things to catch your eye at eye level, certain things set up to appeal to the purse holders and decision makers of the household, and certain things positioned so that the kids can see them and pester you all the way around the supermarket. I think these are international themes here. Amelie, thank you for this. Here's a newbie question for supermarket shoppers. Do I need to weigh my own veggies and fruits myself, or does an attendant do that? It's a great question, Amelie, because, of course, if you don't, and you should have done it, that can cause embarrassment. And I've been in that situation where I've been at the checkout thinking all I needed to do was put these veggies or fruits in a bag, and it would be dealt with by the sophisticated weighing technology at the checkout. That can happen. So you do need to be aware of that. I think most supermarkets are coming round to the weighing at the checkout now. But you might see a machine that weighs and spits out a sticker, and you may need to do it yourself. So it does vary in Portugal. Does anybody have anything else to say about that? But that is a great question, Amelie. Thank you very much for that. When you can get it right out of the cooling sink, it's just the best. Okay, we're talking about tofu there, aren't we? Back to Faro Airport and that petition then to calm the noise and the pollution. Noise abatement is a regular part of airport operations. Today's jets are much quieter than earlier generations. For those of you not old enough to remember the 727, ironically named the Whisper jet. It's all relative, isn't it? It's all relative and contextual. The cooling sink, I've never heard that term. I called it a vat. Some tofu specialists, I think, here this morning. Sarah, talking to you, Amelie. Where we are, we use the self-checkout line and weigh our own, or better yet, buy our fruits and veggies at the Mercado. Now, that is a good call. That's a very good call, Sarah. And there are certain things that you shouldn't buy, I think, or not. I don't want to should on you or shouldn't on you, but I think there are things better bought elsewhere. And I think you're absolutely right. The fruits and vegetables, apart from some notable exceptions inside a supermarket, if you want something exotic, perhaps, and out of season, but maybe that is all being questioned at the moment as well. But yeah, best go to your local municipal market, your mercado. Let's see if Owen's set up. You're in a different room now. Have you tried every room in the house yet, Owen?
No, I'm in the same room, just a different device. Hopefully this will work, but I must quickly say also, Carl, is that I actually have an interview this morning just after 9:30. So I'm a bit panicky, obviously, with the technology and everything else. So,
bless you. Okay, so you'll be leaving us at 9:30 for an interview.
I will. I can't give any more than that. If it's successful, I will definitely tell you more about it.
That's right. Well, if the interview's done by 10 and they say, yes, of course you're the man for us, well, welcome aboard. Let us know, won't you? And good luck.
Absolutely.
Sort from everybody in this community to you in that pursuit there. Okay, so let's make the most of this 20 minutes where you're with us. You, of course, are the food alchemists. You do love to go shopping for excellent ingredients for your incredible creations that people have seen you make live on the show here. And this is a great question. It follows on from whether or not you weigh your own fruit or veg. Have you ever been caught out with that? Got to the checkout and you should have weighed it and put a sticker on it?
Yeah, I have done that, but I'm one of those cheeky ones as well. If I go out and although I've stopped doing it now, if I buy a broccoli or a cauliflower and there's a long stem, I tend to have a pocket penknife with me and cut the stem off, because before I didn't used to eat that, but I do now because I know there's some value in that. So yeah, anything that I at the time, well, some time ago that I wasn't going to eat, I would generally cut off and then weigh it, because obviously if you're not going to eat that particular part, what's the point in paying for it? I'm not advocating people should go out and do that.
That's
but it's something that I used to do myself. But to me at the time it made sense, Carl. If I'm not going to eat that part of the fruit or veg, why am I paying for it? So
well, I was talking about retail psychology and some of the tricks that get played, and I think the carrot tops and the outer foliage of certain vegetables is a little bit of a con, isn't it? Because they're going to be going straight to the bin, and you will have paid for them by weight before that. But I'm thinking of the possibilities here. So, did you pick all the grapes off the stems as well and put them in a bag and leave the stems?
No, no, definitely not. I mean, obviously things have changed now, because I tend to. It's not as if the bottom half of the celery. That's something that I obviously keep and reroot and regrow. Yeah. A lot of the things that you can buy in the supermarket. But, I mean, it just stands to reason, really, that when you go out and yes, I've just seen that thing there by Garbo, the Good to Go Food app, which is a brilliant app. But yeah, I mean, with a lot of some of the things that we don't see. Or seem to realise that the amount of seeds that we get in our citrus fruits, especially here in Portugal, you could start your own fruit orchards just by simply keeping the seeds. I mean, it's quite unfortunate that I mean, I know we do grow, a lot of people grow their own grapes here, but in a lot of the supermarkets, if you go any other country, it's a rarity that you'll see grapes with seeds in.
Yes.
Something that has been grown out, they've altered them so that they don't contain seeds. And those seeds alone contain a lot of good vitamins and nutrients in there. So I'm a big advocate of keeping hold of things and obviously continuing the use of the fruit and veg.
A keen seeker of value. We're putting together a picture of you in your shopping habits this morning, Owen. And where I was going with this was things that you probably wouldn't want to buy in a supermarket. Now, I think it's not a good idea to buy bread unless you absolutely have to. And I would agree with Sarah that it's probably best to go to the local market to get fruit and veg, and you can pick it yourself. So let's go back to bread for a moment then. The bread is going to be, a lot of it is going to be long life and Wonder Bread and those sorts of things. Best place to buy bread in Portugal is to go to your local bakery, isn't it? That specializes in bread.
Absolutely. Most definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I was quite fortunate when I lived. Sorry.
Go on, sorry, mate. Carry on.
I was quite fortunate when I lived in the UK, is that that there was actually a baker, one of the last remaining bakers in the Yorkshire town that I was in, was literally a couple of doors away. So I could smell the bread at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I'd get up, and as he was leaving, he would pass me a couple of loaves. So that was ideal. So I'm quite used to having that rather than supermarket bread, or even baking my own.
Yeah, and well, shout out to all the supermarkets for providing those things so that they're available when other places have shut. So if you can't get any bread, some bread is better than no bread. But generally speaking, it's great it's a cultural thing in Portugal, isn't it? To either have it delivered as well if you live in the country, or you'll find a few Papa Secos or Pau d'Avos hanging from your door if you organise that with a delivery baker, or just get to know your local bakery. And it's a great way, isn't it, of getting to know people locally, because a lot of other people will be going in there on a daily basis and practicing your language skills. The market as well, get down to the market rather than fruits and vegetables. But what else, Owen? Olive oil? Would you buy olive oil from the supermarket?
No,
Honey?
a neighbour.
Right, okay.
I mean,
Well,
you do find a lot of people in the villages here. You know, in particular where I was in central Portugal, is that because I at the time had 24 olive trees, and between us the whole day, you know, the six people, well, the six houses in the village, we all put, you know, all our collection of olives together, and we had them pressed.
Yeah.
You know, I can't remember how many litres, but it you know, it did last me a fair while. So I prefer that. I mean, it's fresh, it's natural, it's organic, it's, you know, it's there. It's not been pressed so many times as the stories have been told of the supermarket olive oil and where it comes from, the origins of that. That's not actually been confirmed, but you know, there are tales that when especially here in Portugal, is that when everybody has gone to the presses and they've pressed, you know, their olives, once that is gone and they've got big piles of pulp that's outside, that is taken back inside again, repulped and then sold to the supermarket. Allegedly, I will say.
I can believe that. I mean, let's face it, the big sort of corporate olive oil producers are going to be going for quantity over quality, aren't they? And any means necessary to maximize their profits. Now, there are some lovely looking brands, certainly, of olive oil inside the supermarket. The gold standard then is to have your own olive trees, as you did, and probably will do one day again, and to work in a cooperative with other small growers. Get them pressed, pick together, pressed together, and have a dividend of the oil that's produced. If you can't do that for yourself, where can you get hold of some of those spoils from other people? Did you say ask a neighbour?
I would say ask a neighbour or find out where your local olive press is.
Okay, all right.
That'd be my hint, is find out where your local olive press is. See the time of the year. Obviously, there's a certain time of the year that the olives are pressed. And obviously, you can go down and price it up, see what it's like.
Yes.
I mean, you do find that. I know that there's one in Tatar. There's just outside the centre of Tatar. Is that they actually do they press the madroña as well. You know, so it's not just the olive oil that's produced there. It's the local tipple as well. So
my word!
Maybe not just pick up the olive oil. You can pick up the local hooch as well.
That'd be quite a nice salad dressing, wouldn't it? A little
Wouldn't
bit of the residue, with the two crops of kind of blended. Sounds good. And whilst we have you with your expertise as a cook as well, the different kinds of olive oil, the virgin, extra virgin, and basic oil, and then going to the other vegetable oils. What are the different applications for those kinds of oils? In what context would you use them? Because in the video I showed of my little trip around the supermarket, there are a hell of a lot of olive oils available, aren't there? So how do we decode which is best to use in which situation?
I don't know, because this is a bit of a bugbear for me, because of the supermarket labelling here in Portugal. You know, does it really say? You know, does it really mean what it says on the label? For me, that's my own personal opinion. It may differ there. I would say the more pure olive oil is not for cooking with, more for dressing. Yeah. So, you know, your extra virgin, I would rather use that for dressings. And then, you know, the I would say your standard olive oil, maybe just for a bit of light frying, because obviously that has a lower cooking temperature.
Okay. And we do know as well that the Portuguese like to deep fry things with the little crab claws or the chamosas or that sort of thing. You don't want to be doing that in your best quality olive oil, do you? What would you buy for the pan fry?
I don't know. I mean, for me, I'd prefer to use like a lighter peanut oil for doing frying things. You know.
Okay.
Really, olive oil for deep frying. I don't know. Yeah. For me, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of that. In fact, I'm even moving away from using oils altogether. As, Brenda, Mrs. T Duck, Brenda introduced me to cooking without oil, and it's amazing. Absolutely. I'm going to start experimenting.
Man, I never thought I'd hear the day when Owen Lloyd-Martin would say, "I'm thinking of not cooking with oil." My goodness.
I didn't say I'm not going to stop. It's just that I've just caught the bug, so I'm experimenting with that just to see how I can apply that to the things that I've already cooked in the past, just to see if there's any difference in the flavour and obviously the timings as well.
Yeah, because somebody was on here recently saying, you know, what if I'm a vegan and I don't use oil? And there was a special name for it. It was quite an exotic sounding name for the person who is plant-based and doesn't use oil. Somebody, I think, will remind us about what that name is. Let's move on then from oils, given that you're eschewing the oily liquids, the golden liquids that are found in the supermarket and elsewhere. Actually, last note on that: do ask your Portuguese neighbour, as Owen says. Often Portuguese people will have their supplier, won't they? If they live in a city,
if not a supplier, they'll come out with a 5-gallon thing for you. But look, this is mine. This is mine from 4 or 5 years ago, which will still be a brilliant quality as well. You know.
Yeah. And you know, if you like, next time I'm up in Braga because it's the best, I'll get some for you, and it might be I don't know, 20 euros or something for a big 5-litre bottle of some real homegrown. Basically. Okay, that's olive oil. Milk can be confusing, I think. Darren Live is asking, how's the availability of fresh milk? Are you off the dairy as well at the moment?
I'm on off. It's dependent. It's dependent, really. I mean, this morning, in fact, I had a coffee with some milk in. I'm tending not to drink as much dairy as I used to. Yeah. And as we know, with a lot of the supermarkets here, it's UHT milk. Up to high temperature. But if I was to drink milk on a regular basis, it would have to be from the Azores because of the lovely cows and the, you know, the milk is second to none, I believe, on the islands.
Yes, and the butter as well. And Galvo's got an interesting question about butter. So milk, there is fresh milk. I don't think there's much in the way of full fat, although I have seen in Auchan. In Auchan, they do what looks like a really like grandma, the days of grandma, lumpy milk.
I think there's Leclerc in Calabash as well. I think they have a fresh milk as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a corporate producer that does the blue and pink cartons that are refrigerated, but very occasionally from a local producer, you'll get some of that milk that's got a head on it. The stuff that birds used to like eating on your doorstep when it was delivered in the UK. So it is available, Darren. You can get fresh milk, but the general habit of buying milk in Portugal, because of the heat, is UHT, and people buy a 6-pack, don't they, of litre cartons, and there is a bewildering selection of that, and you can get a biological UHT, which is a strange kind of blend, but you can get that, and it's quite a big aisle here in Portugal. And I think a lot of people are just going on their favorite brand because they're all much of a muchness from what I can tell. And of course, look in the refrigerator, the chiller cabinet, for the few fresh milks that are there, but there aren't that many, it has to be said, in comparison with the massive amount of UHT cartons there. Thanks for the Sims card suggestions. I'm on way to Tamar. You get about, Ubi, so you should drive by one or more stores. Yeah, you'll find in the centre of town, when you're out and about in Tamar, you will find a concession there, or on that little shopping centre on the outskirts as well. I think could be helpful to you. And in answer to Amelie, it depends. In my experience, each store weighs the produce, sometimes at the produce area and sometimes at the register. So as I said, yes, it does depend. I love Al Gartalio, Supermercado and Fuzeta, downright nostalgic. And we did show the pictures. We love those, Gene. Thank you very much. Ubi loves that in grocery stores, the price is the price. No, see, I've never experienced this, but this is an American thing, isn't it? No taxes added on your way out. I always thought that was a bait and switch BS in the US. Yeah, could well be. Thank you, Ubi, for that. And not quite so poetic as you sometimes are there. My best friend always uses self-checkout. I never do. She likes the convenience. I like employees. Yes, and there is a sort of political point there, isn't there? Keep people working. And somebody was saying they definitely go to the market because they like the social interaction. I think that was probably James who said that, James the Slug. And where did we get to? Yeah, the dramatic footage of the fires, of course. If you've got any more to tell us on that, do put that in the chat and I'll cover that before the end of the show. Lots of amazing delivery services in Korea. Can we learn anything from the Korean shopping experience? And I will miss that a lot. Delivered groceries employ people. I dislike technology taking jobs from lower wage earners. And bon dia, Owen, to you from T-Duck this morning. And we've had a few, there are a lot of comments, and some of them are wishing you good luck in your interview, which you'll have to go and do in just a minute, I think. Before you go, have you heard about the magic tractor? Darren is asking you. It turned into a field. Oh, look, wow, yes, the forehead slap. Quite right, too. Amelie says, Gene, delivery service also employs someone at the store picking the orders. I still like to do my own shopping, though. And sorry if I've replaced someone else's answer. I'm watching on catch up. What did you do? Oh, that's on the aircraft route thing. The directions the aircraft take off and land from could likely be down to wind direction, as taking off in a crosswind is dangerous. I don't think that position is going to go that far. Jess, like many of us here, loves the vino prices. How about that? Yes. And you'll notice that's another thing about Portuguese supermarkets, a great concentration of Portuguese wines. Have you ever tried or wanted to buy a French, New Zealand, or South American wine in a Portuguese store, Owen? How's that gone? They don't do it, do they? They don't do it.
Quite rightly so. I mean, I'm a big advocate of Portuguese wines. I'm going to be honest here. I've tasted a lot of wines, New World wines, everything else. For me, Portuguese wines are far superior than anywhere else I've ever tasted because of the variety that is there. And I think Portugal has the best climate for growing wines here as well. I think it's the best in the world, truly. You know.
Okay, there you go. And just one more then, because I think you need to probably compose yourself, don't you? If it's 9:30 for your interview, what is the good to go food app? How does that work, Owen?
Well, there's a place, I've forgotten the name of the place now, but there's what you basically do. You go on there, you can order certain boxes of fruit and veg, and it's a fraction of the price that you would pay at the supermarket. But this is literally taken from market stalls or even suppliers themselves, where they have excess. So it's all placed into. I think it's 3 different box sizes. It may have changed. It's been a while since I've.
You can just go and pick it up.
Well, you go down. You order it online through the app. You go down and you pay for it, and you just simply go down at a stated time and pick your box up there. And it's lots of fruit. Maybe Garble can pay a visit one morning and get it filmed for us.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. I like that. Stand by for a Garvo movie, and I think I've got one. 5 minutes in Dornesh. I'm going to show that today. Okay, Owen. What's this? Respect. I'd have never thought of that. That's you chopping the broccoli. How much did that save? A penny? To eat those greens. Nearly all root greens are not only edible but very nutritious. All right, James. I love fresh bread.
Did you listen to what I said? I don't do it anymore.
Good luck on your interview from Connie and Hank. Though you all
thank you very, very much. I will say with that, I will say with that, if all successful, I will be away for 6 months.
My goodness. Okay. All right. Adding to the mystery and intrigue there. We're pulling for you, Owen. And who doesn't like to pull for Owen first thing in the morning? All the best, mate. See you later. Good luck. Boa sorte.
Bye now.
All right. See you, mate. All the best with that. Fantastic. Good luck. Everything crossed for the Owen Food Alchemist there. Away for 6 months. Okay. I love fresh bread, says Darren Live. And that's why I'm suggesting maybe don't go to the supermarket. It's not, I mean, I know some local bakers do drop their bread off at the supermarket, and it's quite a good service in some ways. And you've got that. What do you think, folks, of that part baked stuff? The bread section, the food scientists have got that down to a fine art, haven't they? Of part baking, and then they finish it off in the store. Smells good, nice and crusty. But really, can it compete with the time-honored traditions of baking at your local Portuguese bakery? I don't think so. It comes a close second. But if I had to put that into a hierarchy, I'd be going to the local bakery, local business, of course, as well, and a local baker, local jobs, local bread, local yum, yum, yum. Okay, I read some time ago that apple pips contain cyanide. Cyanide is okay, I believe, in small doses, like many things, Garvo. And I think it's called B17, isn't it? Latril, possibly, and it has been used as an alternative remedy. Yes, but don't eat a bucket full. That's the idea. To tea duck, the cooling sink is where the tofu cools before packaging or shipping in the vat. Not widely available, and one of the things I miss, that's like almost like free-range tofu, isn't it? Straight out of the cooling sink. One of the things I miss in my life after being the tofu queen of Atlanta. Wow, have you still got the sash that says that, Sarah? All right, look, Owen did say this was in the past. He won't be doing this again. He won't be chopping the Mrs. M will be. Oh, Mrs. M will be intrigued to hear this. Owen used to cut the stems off the broccoli at the produce section. so that he didn't have to weigh and pay for it. That's canny, isn't
Really?
it? Yes, he did. Yeah, but he stopped short at picking all the grapes off the stems and putting them in a bag. But we all know this now, and Owen doesn't do it anymore. Everybody, the stems can be used to make a broth. Actually, if you cut them into discs, they fry up nicely as well. Yeah, pretty much all of the broccoli, apart from the dried bit that's been chopped by the farmer, is good to go, is it not? Christmas shopping done? Bringing local olive oil from a neighbor. Olive oil in Korea. Really? Wow. Okay. That's not. I mean, you know, Emily, but I just wouldn't have thought of olive oil from Korea. I would have thought it would be sesame oil or different oil over there, veg oil of a different kind. T-Duck has to leave early. We have Evans to run before heading out to the meetup. See you there, T-Duck. Hope to see some of you there. Smash that like button. Is what T-Duck's saying as well before his departure. At Aldi, Andrea and I shopped for groceries, and Bruno was able to purchase a rotary saw to replace one that had been stolen off a job site. Not just groceries, usually an aisle dedicated to merchandise. Yes, you get that, don't you, at Aldi and Lidl? The middle aisle, be careful. Sometimes it's best not to start looking over there. Can you make butter from goat's milk? I'm pretty sure you can do that, Gary. And others may wish to comment on that. Late to the party again this morning. So I will show me a video again of going around the supermarket, see if it prompts you to remember what it was like the first time you were in a supermarket. Moaz is in as well. Bon dia, cari a todos. Sorry, I'm late. You don't have to apologize, Moaz. How many times do I have to tell you that? You're loved anyway, whatever time you arrived. Jess, I'm seeing my name highlighted, so it's working for at least some people. Did you want me to shorten my slug names? James, Holly, Jim. You deep fry. Okay, you should. I agree with Owen. You should not use olive oil when you deep fry. Yeah, a range of oils, I think, rather than just that one bottle of oil. Okay, only saute with olive oil. Thank you for the culinary tips this morning, James. I second Jess. It didn't highlight for me either. I blame your long name. Yeah, James. Olive oil, splash of salt and pepper, balsamic vinegar, and a bit of honey. Nice fresh bread, delicious for dipping. That has actually made my mouth water starting that sentence. And halfway through it started to water, and now I want what you're just talking about. Fresh is relative, starting with straight off the cow. Not seen that. Not seen anything marketed as straight off the cow or somebody lying underneath a Frisian. But I get your drift there. Don't like UHT. Now, I didn't either, Darren. I don't know where you are, Darren. Forgive me. But if you're coming from the UK and you're used to a good strong cup of tea, you know, made with the floor sweepings of the tea plantation, the rubbish that the rest of the world don't want, but we've got used to it, and I've got one here right now. Thank you, Mrs. M, for that. It does take a bit of getting used to, and I've got to say, I am used to it now. UHT in my tea. So yeah, putting the UHT into tea, or putting the tea into UHT. You might want to treat yourself from time to time to a fresh milk, which you can buy, and for the rest of the time, you might get used to UHT. And gordo is fat. What I've not seen, and you may put me right here, I'm sure, of course you will. Not you, Darren, necessarily, but others here, you know who you are. Full fat. If it comes to Coca-Cola, if it comes to milk, it's full fat. Why bother with those other versions? I think the fattest milk you can get is Mea Gorda. Am I right with that? And Gordo is the fullest and the fattest of milks. That's what I would suggest you go for if you're used to that. Why anyone would make tea with skimmed milk, I do not know. Not got used to that ever. Darren, you can get fresh milk in most of the bigger supermarkets, yeah, in the chiller, of course. What about nut milks? Yes, all of them now. I'm going to miss my lovely mixed black bean, tofu, almond, walnut milk. Well, you can get soy milk, which is kind of like tofu milk, isn't it? And almond, and you can get all of the milks, I think, if you go to Solero, the shop called Solero, or the genre called Solero. There's a brand. It's a kind of genre as well as a brand, Solero, but it's basically is the direction of the health food, whole food, organic shop. Solero, a lovely chain found in most shopping centres on the basement level near the supermarket generally. And a lot of there is a bit of a photo fit blueprint to the Portuguese shopping centre, often with near the parking, cleverly done, near the parking, and with a sloping travelator to take you up and down to the car park with the shopping that you've just done in the basement level. And that's where you'll find Solero with all those nut milks. Don't worry. All of these things you will find, I'm pretty sure, in Portugal. If not in the supermarket, then in a specialist retailer like Salero. Look at that. So James is telling you oat, almond, rice, soy, all available. He's from California. He drinks all of those things between meditating and counseling. Bio is also available for all of you. He's chuckling, I think, there in Ericeira, hearing that. Hank also loves to interact with we know this, don't we? Hank, we need to go. We've been in the grocery store for 3 hours now. These people need to serve other people. Crosswind okay, tailwind bad. You know a thing or two about aviation, don't you, Gene? It would appear. Hi all, 4:30 in the morning, Cali Librarian. Thank you for shouting out, as we agreed together, I think, in the email there, Cali Librarian, or Calibrarian, as I think of you. Bom dia, alegria a todos, de Pombal chuvoso. I got a bit of rain over there. Fantastic rain for central Portugal, perhaps, then. Thank goodness. It's when shops need to get rid of produce that's going out of date. You buy a bag box and see what they give you. That sounds great. What a brilliant idea. We have the technology, don't we? I haven't seen black bean tofu either. I've seen almond milk, no info on walnut, plenty of other milks. I think I've seen walnut here. But if they can't be found, you can bet your life that they are on their way, because there is a demand emerging, isn't there? Asking Salero, I think would be the best place to start, as I said there. No news of Antonio F. He left yesterday saying, see you tomorrow. Hopefully not in a Reggie Perrin sort of way. If I had any extra room in my luggage, I'd bring you a carton. So yummy in a coffee. Black bean tofu milk in coffee. Get out of here, Amelie. You're coming to Portugal. That would cause a riot, I think, in a Portuguese cafe, possibly. Although, actually, no, knowing the Portuguese, it would be like, weird, but we'll give it a go. I think I'll stick to my UHT and my mail delay, if you don't mind. Hi, Laura from Victoria this morning, and hi, look at you two down there in the Algarve. I still think probably with the sounds and aromas and sights of the medieval fair in Silvesh for both of you there, Laura and Victoria there. That's a lovely thought, but no worries, not a coffee drinker. Just bring yourself. How lovely. No, Carl, when I arrive in Portugal. Okay, yeah. All right, fair enough. You're not bringing that with you, the olive oil from Korea. Fair enough. Look at this. Here we are by Randy. We have Bon dia. Don't forget, it's the running of the donkeys today. Of course. How could we forget? Please, will you take us a couple of snaps? Maybe even a bit of video of the donkeys and the runners and riders, as it were. Cheers. That's Andy rather than Austin. Fantastic. Lidl was selling e-bikes a while back. Yep. All of life is there, is it not? Lidl and Aldi from time to time. Hey, I made it. Nice to see you here, Chris. And what's this? The 4:30 business. I should have set my alarm. I can only make the last hour or half hour. Nice to meet you, Cali Librarian, working the room as is indicated and approved of and encouraged here. Mayo Gordo is half fat milk. Yeah, sure, mayo being the half, but can you get anything fatter than that? I'm not sure you can. Or can you get a Gordo? I just look at the color now these days. I've stopped reading the label. Only 6 likes. Outrageous. So many of you that don't like the show. Laura, just giving you a little bit of a poke and a prod there. Just laughed out loud. Yes, James is from California, followed by a slew of stereotypes, none of which you live up to, do you, with your counseling, meditation, positive thinking, and plant milks whatsoever. And I'll chuck tofu in there for good measure. Chefs usually use butter with some olive oil. It stops the butter smoking and gives a sophisticated taste to the dish. Do not deep fry your food. It's a killer. Heart disease, weight problems. The occasional treat. Come on, Maxine. Maybe not every day, but the occasional deep fried treat. Come on, especially a Mars bar. We are a riot. This is Sparta. Oh, we are the Gumpers. What is UHT? Ultra heat treated. That's a way of making milk entirely dead for your pleasure and safety, I believe. I'd love to see the donkey run. Well, maybe we can organize that for you. Andy might capture a few images for us. I'm going to show me a video again for those of you latecomers. No names, no pack drill, but I'm going to show this again to see if it triggers any more questions or memories of when you first arrived here in Portugal. Here we go. I love that. Thank you, Bob. Bob's in this morning. Inteiro is full fat milk. I suspect you like that as well, Bob. So not a grocery shopping question, but a food shopping one. What about pre-made veggie meals delivered? Yeah, I know on the Silver Coast here, that is a service. And as I suspect it is in the capital and in Porto as well. So that is happening. And I suspect if you're having a bespoke meal made for you, that person may very well likely be a specialty chef who can turn their hand to vegan and veggie. So that's definitely a trend as well. There isn't a trend that you've stumped us on yet, Amelie. Keep trying. Raphael is here as well, not your average expat, of course. Darn. Very interesting looking video about your experiences in Braga. And are you making a comparison between Italy and Portugal in your videos? I think maybe, is that recent or is that an ongoing theme for you, Raphael? Anyway, Don, just as I finally can tune in, Owen drops off the stream. Anyway, bon dia, Gamperos. Thank you for being here, Raphael, this morning. And yes, ultra high temperature or ultra heat treatment, I thought. Pasteurizing. And who is it who makes a very good comment about this? Yes, Darren. UHT is when they take milk and destroy it so much it's hardly milk anymore. And that's one of those food science, food chemistry things, isn't it? You think, well, given that they've killed it, as I was alluding to myself earlier on, Darren, why not come up with a substitute in that instance? That makes sense to me when it's so removed from its origins and original state that why bother? So I would agree with you. After those cows have gone to so much trouble and lived in the conditions they do to give us milk, why would we do that to the milk? Why not create some sort of some Frankenstein food, basically, to do that. It's not me, I was laughing about the California reference followed by the stereotypes. I can do that all day long. We play with stereotypes. If we don't intend to offend anyone, we take a little bit of a look and a rummage around, don't we, the stereotypes, don't we? And see if there's any truth in them, because there sometimes is, isn't there? Let's face it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a stereotype, would it? So, yeah, no nutritional value left in the milk. I wonder if there's any nutritional value left in the milk after the UHT process. I doubt it. And it's questionable, isn't it? I don't drink milk for the nutritional value. I drink it because it's a habit and it makes my tea. Well, isn't that the case? Because, of course, the Queen, the future Queen of England, who was Portuguese, when she was taken over to the UK, or to England, and was surprised everybody by asking for this tea business rather than having gin like everybody else was having, probably. She changed the English into a tea drinking nation. Was that consort Catherine? Was that her? As I understand it, people drank tea black, and still probably most of the people in the world drink tea without milk, don't they? But the tea was staining the porcelain, was it not? Isn't that the reason why the Brits started putting milk in tea, to stop the staining of the porcelain, and the habit stuck? It's a pretty filthy habit, isn't it, milk? Let's face it, when you consider what goes on in that industry. But I think those are the origins. And if we got better tea in the UK, we probably wouldn't put milk in it. I did try some proper tea, which I know is theft. Before anyone else says that dad joke. Yes, I tried some proper tea, thanks to our friends in our community here, Phil and Maria. They like their tea, speciality, and they drink it black. Of course, you would if you're drinking a high quality, single estate, first pick, whatever it is, all that specialist stuff that goes with tea. It was delicious, I have to say. It was much more delicious than my regular builder's tea. No offense, Mrs. Emmon. Thank you for making it for me. Okay, so I think, Amelie, we've helped you this morning. Moaz, can we help you? These days, I'm eating burgers, pizzas, and other kinds of fast food and drinking a bottle of wine and smoking. OMG. Thank you for your confession, Brother Moaz. You are forgiven. Is there a kimchi making factory there? Yes, downstairs. My kitchen, Mrs. M. I don't know of a kimchi making factory. I suspect there is in Porto or Lisbon. Really, kimchi is such a good food, isn't it? And such a delicious thing to eat. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody was doing it on a small scale. And talking of small scale specialty growing, I've just been sent. Oh, I've got a 404 on the link I was sent. But our friends at Shimajito, any of you old timers, any of you old veteran gumpers remember Shimajito? The mushroom growers in Fundao. Well, they're apparently they're making power from mushrooms as well as nutritional. The great superfood that specialty mushrooms are, the old shit arky mushrooms, and other specialty mushrooms. Let me show you their site actually while we're about it, because they are a wonderful company. We are veering away from supermarkets. Although I have to say, in supermarkets in Portugal, you can buy mushrooms other than the portobello and the chestnut mushrooms. You can buy fantastic specialty mushrooms as well. But you may be pleased to know that you have got a source of specialty mushrooms, Shimajito, in Portugal as well. And they were talking about doing a mail order service, sending a box of mushrooms. Now, mushroom battery was the thing I'm going to look at now, because he's just sent me the link to it, saying something like, hey, old amigo, what do you think of this? But we've got dehydrated mushrooms, we've got mushroom powder, we've got mushroom snacks, we've got additivo viriato. And I think a few of you are writing this down, shimajito.com, mushroom battery. What on earth is this? Our first mushroom battery. This hasn't been one of the questions today. Ask anything about Portugal. Do you sell mushroom batteries there? Well, yes, we do. I think Shimajito have invented a mushroom battery. Will it power a car? Can you imagine the Tesla of the future smelling slightly fungal? It was 2020 lunchtime. Adriel had the idea to test the conductivity of our mushrooms. So he went deeper to see if they could generate electricity. This sounds like Tesla himself talking, doesn't it? So how to produce electricity out of mushrooms and how to create a mushroom battery. Many different materials were tested, different approaches, international research to see how to cooperate and how to develop the best from it. So we did it. At the last Boom Festival, we just announced our findings and our plan to build this open source, decentralized power source technology and develop the best applications. Oh my goodness, the mushroom battery, you can buy it for $5.99. It's not April the 1st. We need to get him on the show. This is fantastic, Adriel. Thank you for sending that in. Hold the front page, news flash. Mushroom batteries. Remember where you heard it first. Would love to have attended that last live stream on the cost of living, but it was full and I was on the waiting list. Oh, it'll be in the YouTube library soon. I promise you that. So you'll be able to see the replay of that. And we're doing our best this morning to answer your supermarket questions as well. Can't help but compare and contrast between Portugal and Italy a little bit. It's been interesting to find the differences between the two countries. Raphael, what is the best way to get from Portugal to Italy if you're not flying? Is there a really great train route to take? I suspect there is. Have you done it? Love them both, by the way. Very diplomatic. Well said. Well said. I think we got to probe him a bit deeper to find out what he really thinks about that. Watch his videos. Sign up from. Put your YouTube link in by all means, Raphael, so people can get the lowdown on that. We found a vegan kimchi. Look at that. Sarah Yerman has found you your vegan kimchi. You have not managed to stump us this morning, Emily, but not in Stubble or Portimao. Well, talking about substitutes for UHT milk, given the fact that only milk made for humans is mother milk and we can't process milk after the age of 3, why not use nut milks as earlier discussed? Yes, thank you for that. The difference between Australia and a pint of sour milk is the milk has a culture. Well, I sincerely hope for your sake no Australians are listening, and by the time they do hear this, we'll be miles away. Gary, I'll be showing your video in just a moment if I can get it up, so to speak. Milk in tea, gross. And you have sent another picture into us, Jean. Thank you for this. To go alongside Mrs. M's fig, our only fig that's grown in the garden so far, I hasten to add. And we are growing it in a pot. Listen, look at that. Look at the color of that sky. Look at that fig. And we split it 4 ways. 5 ways, in fact. We really treasured it and took great pleasure in that fig. And I think Jean has a photo of some figs as well that she would like to share with us. Jean, there you go. There we have Jean's figs. Green, but lovely on the inside. It's a bit like the supermarket picture you showed us, Jean, right? We've got like a sort of plain outside. Let's compare and contrast, shall we? We've got a fairly inoffensive and plain outside. Like that, and then you open it up on the inside and you get that. And with your figs there, it's like that on the outside. And my goodness, when you open up a fig, sorry, I shouldn't have milk and tea gross still on the screen there, should I? But when you open up a fig, you enter into another dimension of taste and delight, do you not? Do you eat the skin, Jean? Do you eat the skin? Some people do with figs, don't they? Okay. Thanks, Carl. Please do that, Raphael. I just like saying mushroom in Portuguese. Cogumelos. I love kimchi. Yes. Those mushrooms look good. They do, don't they? And I have so far found the rice milk to be the best replacement for cow's milk to my taste, but I only use it as a splash in my coffee and when I eat granola. Same. I only drink milk in tea, and well, I love butter and I do love yogurt, I have to say, but I don't like drinking glasses of milk. English school put me off that. Here in Dubai, they make an Indian style tea called karak. They add cinnamon, cloves. That sounds like a chai, doesn't it? Cloves, cardamom, and other spices in milk. You could find it in Indian restaurants. Well, we had a tin of not evaporated milk, condensed milk the other day, and I was thinking this would be great in a chai. It was delicious, and that is delicious as well. You say, Moaz. I'd love to find milk from an actual cow or goat without all the pasteurizing. It's called green milk, is it not? And I think your best place would be Auchan. The closest you're going to get to that is Auchan or Leclerc, as far as the supermarkets go. I don't see Raphael's comments. They're on Facebook. They're on the Expats Portugal Facebook channel. That might be why, but I'm reading them out for you. And there is the YouTube link there, not your average globetrotter. New favorite words then from Amelie. Batatas. Thank you, James. And Gorgomilsh. Trains. It would probably take forever. I'd only fly. Well, that's very helpful. Thank you. Not. Potatoes in Arabic is batata as well. You say batata. I say batatas. I'll be looking for unpasteurized milk too, says Cali Librarian. I get it here at our local food co-op. Yeah, as I said, Auchan. When fig is that fresh, the skin is very palatable. That sounds like one of those Portuguese sayings, doesn't it? When the skin is fresh, when the fig is fresh, the skin is palatable. Make of that what you will. Maybe it could be fun, though, to take an overnight train from Lisbon to Madrid. Yes. Then stay a few days, then head off to Barcelona, and then maybe get aboard from Barcelona to Genoa, if one exists. Reminds me of my wedding speech when I did all of the Genoa, Jakarta, and Jamaica jokes back to back. Palatable. We got you. Boat. And maybe get a boat from Barcelona to Genoa. Wow, now you're talking. For me, being Italian, the big differences talking about food is that they have very little choice of vegetables on restaurant menus and that the price of meat and fish is much less here in Portugal. Thank you for that insight. Auchan. Oh, Maxine's always there. I'm calling it Auchan. But isn't it French? And okay, I'll go with Auchan. Auchan, thank you very much. That's how the Portuguese say it, Auchan. And thank you very much, Maxine. Muito obrigado. None taken. Fondle that like button, Gumpers, for this delicious show. And in Brummie, in Birmingham, where the Commonwealth Games have just been, is potatoes as well there, potatoes. Thank you very much for that. We have got time to show your wonderful video. And have this comment from Ignace Newman. Hi, Ignace. Can you get horchata in Portugal? Tiger nut milk. That's got to be expensive, extracting milk from tiger's nuts. I don't know. I've never heard of that. What a dangerous job that is. Give that person whatever they want for that milk, I say, but I don't think that's what you meant. I'm going to share a different screen with you now. I'm trying to bring a beautiful, I suspect this video will be very beautiful. Dornesh. Let me just change the atmosphere a little bit. One of these. A little bit Jenny B, a little bit Feel Good Friday, a little bit Cosmic, a little bit Thoughts from the Redwoods, California, again, and some easygoing vibes as we close out the show here. And we go to Dornesh, which is super spiritual, super magical. And I've not seen this, so goodness knows if Gary's got his clothes on or not with this video, but I'm going to try and share it with you because I suspect if it's anything like his other videos, it's going to be very beautiful. And forgive me if it's a little clumsy as I bring it onto the screen because I'm going to play it to you, and I'm going to try and do that in full screen. Oh, hold on a minute. No, wait a minute. I'm not asking you to start yet, Garvo. So then, okay, I've got it all set up. I wish you a very good day. Adios, ciao, ciao. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll have Luis Duarte from Global International Relocation, GIR, tomorrow. And, of course, on Friday, we will have Ian and Phil with a bit of Feel Good Friday fun, growing old disgracefully, gentle fitness for bon viveurs. And again, it will revolve around Portuguese wine drinking and food, all about the balance. And on Thursday night, we'll be talking about the golden visa on a webinar. So make sure you join us for that if you're interested in the golden visa. Guys, I've got a big meeting this afternoon. Wish me luck. Well, both to you and to Owen this morning. And you can find horchata here. There you go. How about that, Ignace? And sending you positive waves and vibes as well there. Gene, to you, Capricorn 12. How good is that? And same from James and to Thunderduck as well. So good luck to Thunderduck as well. Why not? No, Amelie, no. Raphael came to the rescue just at the last minute there. We were not stumped this morning on our supermarket special. We're going to finish today with a beautiful video from Garvo, I hope. Ciao, ciao from Laura. Okay, so let me go to that video now. And then, of course, the usual whistling outro after the magic that that Garvo is just about to create. Let's see what we can do here. All right, I'm going to play it for you now.
Today we're in the lovely town of Dornesh, which sits out in the river Zazera. It's famed for its church, which has a very old tower, which is possibly built in connection with the Knights Templars. But before that, I do believe there was a Roman settlement here. The weather is very warm today, hence standing under the tree, and things are beautiful. Dornish has got quite a few things going for it. Obviously got the mighty river and all the water sports that go on it. There are beautiful walks into the valleys and inlets behind us. Down in the town, there's 2 or 3 really nice restaurants that offer fish and local produce. And they do have regular events here, so it's quite a good place to come for a day out. This village has a wonderful, almost mystical feel about it. You know that it's got years of history, and it has seen a lot of feet over the time because it's a very popular tourist attraction, probably one of the most popular in the area. But it just has a unique charm about it, and that's what I like.
Well, one of the main factors, because for me, was really the light, the intensity of light, the way it fills out shadows. In a lot of northern latitudes, you have a problem where light is not in the shadows, so you can't see detail. Here, when you look at your hand, you can see all sorts of detail in your hand you couldn't see in northern latitudes because of the reflected light. I'm standing here now with the benefit of a big wall behind. You can't see it, but with a big wall behind, and it's reflecting light, torrents of light my way, diffused light, which is great for photography. So probably the main reason was the light, the history, the culture, the friendliness of the people, marvellous people, and the food. Dornish, that is my second time that I've been here, was very tranquil in the winter time, which was the first time I came. A great place. You could even call it empty, but in a kind of nice way, in a kind of interesting sort of way. You see the odd person. In the summertime, obviously it's a little bit busier. It's a bit more frantic, but really in comparison to a lot of resorts, it's pretty good, you know. You can still park, you can still get fed, you can still go to the bars, and you can still enjoy that kind of tranquil sort of other side of a holiday Portugal vibe quite easily.